listening to Nasty Knuckles, the Hockey Outlaws podcast, with your hosts, Derek Nasty Sotomayor and former Philadelphia Flyer enforcer, Riley Cote, as they go behind the scenes with your favorite NHL players. Time to face off.
All right, welcome back. What's happening, Nasty?
What's going on, Rigarelia?
Doing all right?
Hanging in there, just like you.
Yeah, I got a trim, I see.
I did get a little trim, Daddy. Let's starting over fresh.
Yeah.
You know, like just
summertime,
kind of
get rid of those frosty tips.
Sometimes you gotta what you used to call it when you'd eat the mush on Sunday? You gotta recharge,
reset, regenerate.
Did it myself.
Yeah.
You can tell.
Well,
So bad.
Well, it looks rock solid.
Oh, I love
Fresh.
it. It's so nice. Jump out of the showers, just done.
Yeah.
Done, man.
Not a whole lot of
Unlike
maintenance.
yourself.
Oh, yeah. Tons of
Like,
maintenance
it
over
probably
here.
takes you longer to dry your beard.
Yeah, it's a process.
You're supposed to trim it,
Detangle.
by the way. Yeah, we had a tough week in
did.
the hockey world, not even hockey. Good friend of ours, Tony Voce, unfortunately left us at the young age of 43. Just a tough time, and we've been answering texts and emails and phone calls, and just a tough week, man.
Yeah. You said unfortunate, tragic. I mean, it shows you how life it could be so fragile.
Yeah.
And really teaching us to count our blessings. But yeah, I wish Tony's family and friends the best in this grieving process. But he's going to be missed. He was a great guy, as we'll get into, and just his impact on Philadelphia hockey and the youth, right? His positive, upbeat, witty energy.
Yeah, very witty. Very witty.
He will be missed.
He will be missed. Just want to, send our blessings and prayers to his three daughters, Mia, Raya, and Gianna. Tony was the son of Anthony and Teresa Voce. I've met Barb, his love of his life, his partner, Barb Basili, and he ended up, she has two sons, Jason and Josh Player, who I know just, I'm sure they're devastated just like the rest of us. And he's also an uncle to Palmer Voce and Gianna Martino and countless other friends, obviously, teammates, other family members, cousins, and all that. He's just, he's going to be missed by so many. It's already, this week at the rink, it was, it's a lot of hugs, and he did so much over at Hollydell Ice Arena and other places as well. I know I spoke to a few of the Warriors, Philadelphia Warriors, are good buddies, and he had been helping out over there as well. I think with Kobe Cohen, and just a lot of heartache this week, man. It's tough, but Tony, with the way he was, he would say, "Hey, it's cool," or something, just move on. But he is going to be missed.
Yeah.
So much by everyone in the community.
Yeah, that's the truth. And as you just mentioned, we're trying to find some light in all this, right? It's
Right.
tough, it's challenging, but Tony was one of those guys that somehow turned something into a joke, right?
Yeah,
Not that this is obviously
sure.
a joke, but like, you know what I mean? Like trying to keep the energy positive.
Yep.
And I think we'll get into it with a few of our few of Tony's friends and ex-teammates around just sharing some Tony stories, because anybody that's met Tony just knows that he's a funny, witty, lighthearted guy.
Yeah.
Obviously a great hockey player and great influence on a lot of hockey minds. But we want to do our best to remember Tony as the fun-loving guy that he was.
Yeah, definitely celebrate him. And like I said, it's just been a tough week. You see it. I've been fortunate enough to be at Hollydell a lot with my son, playing with PHC and working with the Rebels. And, Tony's has been an advisor and / agent, I guess, for a lot of kids. And just, he's got his hands in a lot of things, just a hardworking guy. And like you said, every time I see him, it's just, would bring a smile to your face because he would skate over to the he'd have something funny to say to me. He'd skate over the door, open it up, and say something, and good friend Jeff Frankel, who works with him, I know he's devastated as well. They were on the ice together every day doing their thing, and I know all the kids there, just everyone, everyone. So kind of today we want to do this show and kind of celebrate Tony and have some of his former coaches, players, friends, whatever, join us.
Yeah, so be looking forward to speaking with a few of these guys from Calder Cup team 0405.
Yep.
John Stevens.
Yep.
Obviously beauty, goaltending position, Neil Little.
Yeah.
Got Josh Gratton coming on. Obviously tough guy, good friends with Tony.
Yeah, Tom Bunting, who worked very, very closely with Tony. Tom runs the hockey program at Hollydell, and just does a tremendous job. That's a hard job to do.
Oh yeah,
deal with all the parents. Every kid's going to the NHL. We're actually going to have him on at some point this summer to kind of talk about those things and maybe what some parents should do. And with your kids, give them a little bit of a break, right? But we'll get into that later. But we're going to have some friends join us.
All right, now, so I think it's time that we hear from one of Tony's good friends and former teammates, Neil Little.
Oh, yeah. All right, we got our good friend of the show, Neil Little, former goaltender of the Philadelphia Flyers and Phantoms. Let's happy to see your smiling face. Hate that it's under these conditions. Obviously, lost a good friend, a teammate of yours, Tony Voce. Just wanted you to jump on and talk a little bit about Tony, maybe some of the memories you had. I mean, there was a lot, but Tony was just such a great guy, always in a great mood. He was a rookie that first year when you played with him. Obviously, it was I think your last year, but we won the championship.
I did.
One of my favorite years ever in hockey, but just want to pass it on to you a little bit here. How you doing, bud?
Yeah, all good. Yeah, that was sure sad news for sure. Because Tony was he was such a unique individual, and unique in the perspective that he was a local kid. So, he's coming in, he's kind of quiet around us, but at the same time, he had all his cronies from North Philly. Like he had a whole crew. Like so, he didn't. He was just. He was making sure he was. Being a good rookie, but at the same time, we knew that this guy was up to no good at all times.
Yeah, that's
him. You know what I mean? Like he always had that look in his eye, like,
yeah. Where are you coming from, Tony? In the morning when he got to practice, where are you coming from, kiddo?
But always in a good mood. You know what I mean? And he's super character. Yeah. And a good player too, like undersized, but man, he had some skill and
he did.
His IQ was really high.
Yes,
hockey IQ was off the charts. So certainly, it was a pleasure to play with him. And I guess at these moments in our life where we're losing our friends, you can take it one of two ways. You can be just devastated and sad, or you can be thankful that you did get to spend the time that we did with him. So that's the way I choose to look at it. And great teammate and great person, and we're all going to miss him, but at the same time we can celebrate his life and be thankful that he was in it for a short amount of time, but a memorable part.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
You bring up him, obviously. Last thing really I think about when I'm thinking about Tony the last few days is hockey.
Yeah.
Just being his friend and knowing him and being able to, I'm seeing him 4 to 5 times a week the last few years, just being at a Hollydell Ice Arena so much. But you said it, it's like he was a hell of a player. He came in and made that team. And I remember us talking, like he wasn't sure he was going to make that team because there was no NHL that year. And we were pretty stacked. We were a pretty stacked team. He obviously came off a great career at BC where he eventually was, put into the Hall of Fame there, Hockey Hall of Fame for Boston College. But that first year, he had 22 goals, 17 assists. Pretty impressive for a rookie coming in and probably playing mostly third and fourth line. I mean, maybe not fourth line, but third.
Yeah.
And probably didn't get a lot of power play time that year. But like you said, Litz, he was a big contributor to that team. And also just Riley and I were talking about it off air, just make you laugh. Like guys, like you said, it's funny you brought that up because he would come in and kind of give you that look. I'm like, he'd come into my, what did you do last night?
What did you get into?
You won't believe this shit. I didn't get into it, but I know we were talking about with you a few minutes ago, Litz, about he wanted to set up the rookie party in his rookie year. And boy, did that turn into a bit of a shit show.
Oh, man.
Shit show. I know I was a little afraid for my life. I'm not going to lie.
There you go. Other guys were too.
Yeah, not just me. Not just me.
Yeah, and we let him run with the ball. For some reason, we said, yeah, go ahead, Tony.
Oh, that was a great idea.
The best idea.
And then next thing we're over and parts unknown, and it was 80.
Kensington, PA. There, I think.
We're all looking at each other. Hey, we're just like, Tone, where are we? Well, it's right this way. It's a great spot. It's my buddy's spot. Yeah, it's right down here in this dungeon basement. Yeah.
I'm glad that thank goodness the cops didn't show up. They may be afraid to come there.
Yeah,
where we were.
Right?
But,
left that place alone.
Yeah.
Good thing that all the guys left there unscathed too.
Yeah,
I mean,
no shit.
You're
right.
A rough media headline the next day.
Oh, man.
Rookie party goes wrong.
He Kate Litz. I was just telling Riles. I remember one day. I don't know where it came from, but he came in. He's like, "Hey, Nast, in case you ever need any meat, like beef, steaks and stuff. I got a guy."
Yeah,
and I'm like,
the meat.
"What is this, a movie? Like, you got a guy? Like, what are we talking about here, Timo? Like, you're scaring me, man." But it was legit. I found out it was actually legit. He had a little
grass
hand.
fed.
Yeah, I don't think it was grass fed, but I think it was coming off the back of a truck, if you want to be honest.
He pulled up at my place in the meat wagon there, and I'm like, what?
What are you doing?
What are you trying to sell me? Yeah, just give me whatever you got. I don't care. Right? You show up in a meat wagon. I got it.
Yeah. You might as well get it.
Yeah, instant sales. Yeah, it's great marketing.
Yeah, for sure, man. Oh,
give me what you got.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's all organic and grass fed. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Wagyu.
No steroids, hormones.
No steroids, hormones. None.
Yeah.
Oh boy, but yeah, let's we appreciate you, man, and I know you had a soft place in your heart for Tony, just like we all did, man.
Yeah, and I've been getting calls from people I haven't heard from in a long time. Just the local people that Tony had been taking care of, their kids and one-on-ones, and everybody's it's the same. He impacted a lot of lives. And he did a lot of good for all this youth hockey. And I'm sure, he's going to be missed by those kids and those parents because he was given quality instruction. And, he cared about those kids. So
yeah, he did.
Yes.
Yeah, he's going to be missed on a lot of fronts, but, specifically by his old teammates for sure.
Yeah, for sure, buddy.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I appreciate you hopping on. Let's get back to work.
Okay, guys.
Look at that mansion you're in. You got a couple different houses, eh?
Just rolling in dough.
All right, brother. We'll see you soon, man.
Take care.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks, buddy. Love you.
All right, big thanks to Litz for hopping on.
Yeah,
busy man sitting in that mansion.
He is sitting in. It's the best. Like he's got. Well, he's obviously still a scout. He scouts for Montreal, but he has this other thing that he does, and he's in these houses that like are unreal.
Insane.
And obviously, he's just sitting in there like he owns the place.
Sitting
but
on the throne.
Not that his house is anything to. It's not too shabby. But I told you about that meat.
I didn't know you had a meat wagon.
I don't know where he got the truck.
Oh man.
But it was great that Litz brought that up because
hilarious.
so funny.
That was a funny one.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Litz, man. Next, director of hockey at Hollydell Ice Arena, Tom Bunting. He's coaches, and he's coached Elvis, and he does everything over there. Just a great guy, and very, very close with Tony, and his wife's actually best friends with Barb.
All right.
Tony's partner in life there. So let's get Tom on, welcome him in.
All right. Let's hear from Tom.
All right. Next joining us up is a good friend, Tom Bunting, director of hockey at Hollydell Ice Arena. This guy does about everything you could even imagine at that rink, and very, very close with Tony, our good friend. And as a matter of fact, Tom's wife is best friends with Barb. So this is hit really hard, like I had said earlier, especially over there at the rake and everywhere. But it's tough for everyone. But Tom, just want to talk to you a little bit about Tony and everything he meant to you, and the things that he was doing at Hollydell, because you worked very close with him, obviously.
Yeah. Tony and I talked. I mean, he's at the rink 4 days a week. If we didn't talk on the phone, we text every day. It's funny. Like, I had practice on Tuesday night, and it wasn't uncommon for me to get off the ice, bad practice, good practice, or I felt like I didn't do my job or pissed off at a player or whatever. I go up to my stall. I would text him right after. And no lie, I get up there Tuesday, get to my stall, take my skates off. I pull my phone out. I'm ready to text the guy. And that's kind of when it hit me. I think you're running on adrenaline like that first day, and then all of a sudden get back to your regular life.
Yeah.
And, that guy you lean on is not there anymore.
Right.
And that's a big thing for me. In my position here, you're making a million decisions, and we have, as you know, we have like 600 players, and you can't please everybody, right? So for me to have a guy like that I trusted would tell me the truth, I'd say, hey, man, I'm thinking about doing this with the program or what have you. And he would say, hey, or I'm getting heat for this decision. And he would say, hey, man, you're doing the right thing. Keep on going. Or he would tell me, yo, you fucked up. Like, check yourself. Do a 180. And not that I always listened to him, but I trusted him. I knew he had my best interests, and, it's hard to find people like that in your life. He was honest. Tony told it like it was.
Right. Yeah. He certainly did. We just had, before you joined us, we had Neil Little on, and one of the things I know about Tony is that most of the time, a funny guy, happy guy. You see him upstairs in Dunlops, and even with the kids loved him, and very witty guy. And Riley played with him. Obviously, I had him as a player too, but being fortunate enough to be involved at Hollydell now, I get to see him a lot. I would get to see him a lot, just not as much as you probably, but just a funny human and fun to be around. Like you said, you may run something by me, be like, Tom, give your fucking head a shake, man. No, but that was one of the things about Tony that I really loved, his sense of humor and the way he went about things.
Yeah. We got on me all the time. We fought like brothers, honestly, and we had similar personalities in that we could have it out, Friday night, and Saturday morning, it was like it didn't happen, and I genuinely love the guy. And I hope he felt the same way about me, but, we had that kind of relationship. We talked every day, and wasn't always a good conversation. Sometimes we'd be motherfucking each other, and we moved on, and, there was like a mutual respect there, and, it's irreplaceable for me.
Yeah,
for sure.
I was gonna say, like, those types of things are almost hard to replace, right? I mean, having a hockey guy is one thing, a good hockey mind, but then having a personality like Tony's, where like you can laugh together, you can goof off together, and then you can be honest together. I think it's super important in just general relationships, but working relationships, and something special about the hockey community. To have a guy like that being around the kids. He'll certainly be missed, because I mean, that's all I think of Tony is just like the witty one-liners, whether it's he's agreeing with you or disagreeing with you, and it's just like you appreciate that, right? This world is honesty. I think when you have a coach or friend that could be honest with you is to me is super important.
And I think you guys are probably going to have a lot of people on today that are going to talk about Tony Voce, the hockey player.
Right.
And those kind of stories. That's, the part of his life that I know is the father, loved his daughters. They always came first, and I know they adored him. His relationship with Barb, and oh, by the way, he's a phenomenal hockey coach. Had Tony's life gone differently, he could have coached Division I hockey without a doubt. And I think he passed up some potential opportunities because he would have had that left his kids, being divorced and not having full custody and whatnot. For him to move up to the Northeast in the country, coach Division I hockey, he wouldn't have seen his daughters, and that was a non-starter. But he was that kind of talent as a coach. And, like a lot of former pros, I'm sure, like, he played till he's 30, and then it's like, okay, what do I, now your career is over. What do I do with the rest of my life, right? He started a family, and, he bounced around a couple different jobs outside of hockey, and he kind of always called him back. He worked here full time for a little bit. Then he went back, in another job, and the rink kept calling him back, And, the sad thing for me is I think he really found his calling here at the end. Tony had an unbelievable eye for talent. Now, again, I think he could have been a scout, an NHL scout. He had that. He could look at a kid in a period of hockey and say, hey, this is what he does well. This is what he doesn't do well. This is his ceiling, I feel like, or, what have you. And he was good at that. Not a lot of guys are. And I think that, coupled with like the skill work he's been doing and the unbelievable group we have this training group in the summertime that I know he took a ton of pride in. He put a really awesome group together, and the advising, he really put a lot of time and effort into that. He was good at it. There's a lot of advisors out there now. It's a big business in youth hockey, maybe too big. But Tony, he put a lot of time into his guys. Did video. He took it wasn't a transactional relationship. A lot of the guys say they take your money and they try to find this spot, and it kind of ends there. Tony was invested in every guy, and it took him, and he would even tell you, like, he was 43, right? It took him till he was about, whatever, he got into that in his early 40s, 41, 40. It took him till about that time, 10 years from the time he left the game before he finally found, kind of what his calling was. I know he was really happy professionally, and it was just the tip of the iceberg. I feel like he was really starting to get some high-end clients and really build a name in that industry. And I think he would have been as good of a player as he was. I think this is, had he had a 20-year run in that position, I think he really would have made a name for himself.
You mentioned Tony bouncing around a little bit, and I understand the process of trying to find yourself post-career, and it's not that easy sometimes, but hockey seems to be always like a foundation to go back to because it's what you know. And we were joking with Litz a little bit about, Tony, as we all kind of do a little bit, side hustles, and hustling and bustling and trying to make it work. But we just had a little laugh about Tony. One of his side hustles is showing up in the meat wagon.
Did you ever hear about that, Tom? I don't know if you ever. He comes into the rink one day, Tom, when he was still playing, and he's like, and Tony, like, you knew when he was up to something. He was playing here at home. He's playing pro hockey, and first 2 years, very, very successful.
Yep.
His first year on a team that had NHL players on it because of the lockout. He ends up with 22 goals. The next year, he comes up almost 30 with 28. And you just knew when Tony was up to something, he came in and he just kind of had that shit-eating grin on his face. He'd come into my office and be like, nah, and tell me something, it'd be great. And then, but the one day he comes in and he says, hey, you need any meat? And I'm like, what? I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, like steaks, like I got a guy. And I'm like, what are we in a fucking movie? Like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? And then we kind of brought that up with Litz. Litz says, he shows up to my place in a damn meat wagon. He goes, just give me one of everything. I don't know.
What we got?
I don't know where it came from, but I wondered if he ever told you that. But I used to bust his chops about it a lot. But, we're doing this today. We're so thankful you came on. And actually, we were speaking earlier. We want to have you in studio this summer because there's you do so much with hockey and these kids. You're so good with the kids and even older. You know the game so well. We want to come in and pick your brain on hockey with the youth and things you should do. I know I can't even imagine. I know what you have to deal with because we talk quite a bit, but it's a crazy hard job with parents because there's 11-year-olds that are going to be playing in the NHL.
Oh yeah,
that are,
you need a full-time psychologist
now, right?
in
Yeah.
yeah.
It's funny you say that Tony was that guy for me. Like if I had a parent, if there was a parent here that was kind of getting off the rails a little bit, maybe getting a little bit too serious, you get the parent of a really talented player, and it's it can be a hard thing to handle sometimes. They don't quite know how to act right when their kid is like this elite 11-year-old, and sometimes maybe I would subtly try to have a conversation with them, like just kind of let it play out. It's a long journey. And every now and then I would turn it over to Tony. Like, hey, do me a favor, man. Like when you see so-and-so, just go grab him and, talk to him. And he was good at that because he would tell him flat out, like, listen, you think you have something and you may not. You need to calm down. And, he was my guy. He was like my go-to. He was a cleaner,
Yeah, right. Yeah, you got to have
I
one.
couldn't get it done. I went to him because he was going to maybe say some of the things that I maybe couldn't say.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah, it's I know that's a tough job. I see a little bit. I don't get to see it all, but I see a lot of what you deal with there, and you do a hell of a job. And like I said, we appreciate you coming on. We kind of obviously our hearts are all hurting and broken, but we wanted to do this to kind of celebrate Tony, and very thankful for knowing him and being him being a part of all of our lives. And I know how close you guys were. So we really do appreciate you taking the time.
You're welcome. Make sure somebody tell us the Shel Samuelson story today.
Oh yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. How could we forget that? Yeah, I know. Maybe we should zoom into Shellen.
Yeah, let's
get Sammy on here.
I think Tony would be disappointed if that wasn't told today.
You're right. Yeah, we got to find a way to.
He took a lot of pride in that story.
Yes, he did.
Oh, that was well earned. That was a well earned story.
He has to go up and see Homer, and Homer's almost chuckling, like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "He grabbed me. What do you want me to do? I don't care." And Homer's kind of like, "Well, we're gonna have to do something." And so that was actually when he got traded to. He ended up getting traded to Grand Rapids, I believe. But yeah, you're right. He did take pride in that.
Yeah, we'll have to get the full.
The
full story, lay out the.
Yeah, exactly.
The
we
timeline
will. I'm glad you brought that up, Tom. That's funny.
That's a good one.
But thanks again, buddy, and good luck. You're heading to Boston, right? Today?
Yeah, I'm off to Chowder Cup this afternoon.
All right, Chowder.
Chowder.
Jump in your car. Hopefully you find a good parking spot up there. But good luck, Tom, and I'll see you next week. Thanks again.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thanks, Tom. Big thank you to Tom Bunting for hopping on.
Yeah, great guy.
Great
man.
insight.
Yeah.
And you know him obviously very well.
Yeah, awesome guy. Tough job, like we talked about.
I can imagine.
But it's a tough week for him. He is heavily involved with Tony, like he said, obviously. So, like you said, we want to kind of celebrate Tony and Tom. I've seen him this week. I saw him Monday and went in yesterday. So we talked a lot about it. But appreciate Tom jumping on, and we'll have him on this summer to tell all you crazy hockey parents like myself, because I'm an idiot.
Yeah, a little crazy.
No, but just to talk about those things. But we appreciate that. And former coach for you and Tony, Johnny Stevens, going to jump on here with us. So let's welcome Johnny Stevens to the show.
Johnny.
Obviously, we talked the other day. Just terrible news, obviously, but.
Yeah, it's too bad. We don't get together enough, and we do in times like this. But it was nasty. It was the one that made me aware, and my heart just sank. You never want to see any leave the earth too early, but certainly not somebody that was a teammate like Tony. So, it was really, really tough news the other day.
Yeah,
it sure was. We were talking earlier just about how fragile life can be, and how important it is to really make the most out of every experience that you have and these relationships that you build over the years. Because how quickly we have conversations like these where we're talking to you're talking about sharing stories about one of our friends that's passed. So
Yeah, it's so true. And, tomorrow's not guaranteed for any of us, right? And,
That's right.
truth.
but, the one thing I will tell you, when these things do happen, you just get reminded how special the hockey community is. With you guys, you're jumping on it, obviously trying to pay tribute to Tony and, like teammates, and Derek's part of a Phantom chat that we have, and the guys were all pouring their hearts out in the Phantom chat and thinking about Tony's family. So the hockey community for me is a special one, and feel fortunate to be a part of it.
Yeah, no doubt.
We wanted to kind of, like get a few people on, and you're, nice enough to do this with us just to kind of celebrate Tony, and Litz was on a little earlier, and he put it really great, just saying, we were fortunate enough to be a part of our lives, although he's gone way too soon, obviously. But like you said, Johnny, it's such a tight knit community. We picked up last summer, we had that reunion, and it was just like, it was almost like we had all been together. It was just everyone's so tight. And, but Tony was, I got to work with Tony quite a bit, obviously over here at Hollydell, Ice Arena with my son being there. And then I was helping out with the Rebels for a couple of years. So got to spend a lot of time with Tony, and just, he always made me laugh, just pretty much always in a good mood, a little smart ass too, just great comments, very witty guy. But we just wanted to get you on and maybe to talk a little bit about him. Obviously you were his first pro coach, and he obviously looked up a lot to you and loved you and enjoyed his time with the Phantoms.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't blame me for his career not being prolonged. But it's funny when you talk about Tony, the vision that comes to my mind is a smirk on his face,
Yes.
Yeah.
Seriously, that smirk on his face. And he's an interesting guy because he's a local kid that he's not that big, he's not that fast, but he scored everywhere he's been. And when he came to the Phantoms, like, you watch him, you're like, what makes him so successful? He had more breakaways than anybody I've ever seen. It's just because he's not very.
That.
He's like, how do you, like Joe Pavelski being on a breakaway? Like, how does he do it? Because they think the game so much quicker. They know where the puck's going. They end up there. But you got to remember that Tony was part of the Phantoms team during the lockout year when the American League was loaded with NHL talent. That was the team that we had that won a championship there. Riles was on that team, and Todd Fedoruk, Josh Gratton, RJ Umberger, Sharpie, Carter, Richards at the end of the year, Seidenberg, can you go down the list?
Yeah.
And Tony, for a kid that was undrafted, local kid, found his way onto that team and contributed. So that gives you a little bit of an understanding of what kind of player he was, and he fit in great. And the guys all loved him, and he's a local kid, so I think he was really endeared by the fans in Philadelphia because of that. And like I said, I think he made a lot of what he had, and for a lot of people that didn't have the size and the speed and whatnot to play at that level, I think he made the most of it. And I think we can all admit that he was a good teammate on the teams he played on.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier about, like, you just named all those names, and there's probably more that moved on almost immediately the next year to the Flyers, but Tony still threw in 22 goals his rookie year. Like, I mean, and he came back his second year with 28, nearly 30 goals. But you're right, Johnny. He fit in really well, and it's so funny you brought up that smirk, because that's what we were talking about earlier. Just, he'd come into my office once in a while, and he had that look, and they're like, "What?" I know he wanted to tell me a story. You know how the boy, you were a player once, you've been a coach for a long time now, but you know how he enjoyed telling the stories. And let's reminded us of that first year. I'm not sure if you knew this because you were the head coach, but he was in charge of setting up our rookie party where we were going to go. And Litz, of course, being Litz, made it even funnier than it was. But we ended up somewhere, Johnny, and we were afraid for our lives. We were like near Kensington, I think, and we were in some basement of a bar. And we couldn't tell everything that happened, but it was just, Tony's like, no, man, this is cool. It's cool. And we're like, no, it's not, man. Like, can we go back to McDaniel's or something? Right? Like, Danny Moore will make sure we don't get shot. But like you said, Tony, just that look he always had was awesome.
Yeah. Well, he's funny. He's a local kid, right? So he had the local connections. And when Riles texted me about coming on the show, I started thinking about Tony and some of the things that came to mind. And the one thing that was kind of funny knowing Tony is we won the Calder Cup that year. So they kind of leave it in the area so you can take advantage of it. And Tony took full with his buddies, right? So I had arranged to Canada, so I thought it'd be neat to bring the cup with us, right? So I had to track Tony down to get the cup back. And come to find out, Tony and his buddies thought it was a good idea to let out firecrackers in the Calder Cup, right? So Calder, there's black spots everywhere, burn marks on the inside of the cup. So here I am with a brush pad trying to get all these spots. Looking for Tony to ring neck, and of course you finally run into him. You get that smirk on his face. What? What?
Yeah.
Right. So
he was probably selling those firecrackers out of his trunk too. We've been talking about some of his little side hustles he had.
Oh, I remember that happening too. I didn't realize you were the one that grabbed it from him firsthand in the story. That's pretty funny.
Of course, he's just on his way laughing about it. So
yeah.
He did have a way of making light of situations, and I think that's what I remember the most about Tony. Besides the smirk, there is just like good, bad, or indifferent. He had a witty way of communicating how he felt, and in an honest way. But he kept it light. I think he kept it light, and I think early on that year he was quieter, and he kind of kept coming out of his shell a little bit more. But he was always a lighthearted, fun guy.
Yeah, he certainly was. And, we got him as a coach, and this, Riles and Derek, you're always trying to push guys to get better and find ways. And I was always on Tony about fitness and, you got to be more fit if you're going to play at this level. And and you know what, to his credit, he was the kind of kid that wanted to be coached. He did take that advice, and he did work at it. And by the end of his career, when his career was done, I see him afterwards. I said, you're in better shape now than when you about it. But he did. Sometimes you get these talented guys who've had success and scored everywhere they've been. They don't want to be coached, but you certainly wouldn't say that about him. He fit in with our team. And listen, the way our team was built, we had top six and we had bottom six, and we had a really heavy fourth line, which you see a lot in the National Hockey League with Riles on it and Ben Stafford and Ben Eager. And Tony still found a way to get in the lineup and contribute, even though he didn't have the MO of that fourth line. But we still like putting him in the lineup because we get some secondary scoring out of him, because he just always found a way to produce everywhere he'd been. And he's a good memory from that team, because that team was special, and he's certainly a good memory as part of that group.
Something I just popped in my head. I think we talked about it earlier too, Johnny. And you may have known this happened, but I just remember us going into Grand Rapids to play, and I think Pete Vandermeer was there that year. It was the year of the lockout.
Yeah.
And didn't you may have fought him.
Yeah, it was in the Spectrum, but he was on that team
anyway. So we somehow our travel, we had the bus. We were on a bit of a trip, and so everyone went out. The next day we were traveling, so you gave the boys have some fun, and so we did, and end up in the hotel, and Sal and Tony get into they're arguing about something. It was nothing bad, but they start pushing and wrestling, and sometimes that turns into something. Well, guys tried to break it, say, hey, it's getting too serious now. So someone grabs Sal. Poor Sal. They got his arms locked up, and Tony comes off the top turnbuckle and pops him. And next thing you know, Sal's fucking 90-night Jim Kite sleeping. And Tony's like, oh my God. He's trying to wake him up, But the next morning, I meant to say with Litz on, that wasn't the issue. The issue was Neil and Nitty were late for the bus. And I remember you were just like, Litch, you got to look after this Nitamaki. That was the next morning.
Yeah.
And Litch was on telling a couple stories, but I forgot about that one. But I thought that was funny. I don't know if you ever knew that had happened. And they were hugging each other. As soon as Sal woke up, they were laughing.
As soon as
he was asleep. Yeah. He was out cold, man.
Team building.
Yeah. Team needs character, and your team needs characters, right?
That's right. That's right.
We had a few. Yeah, we definitely had that.
We did.
It's a good thing I've been gone for a long time, because you guys would be getting me in trouble with management right now.
No, that wasn't your fault, man. That wasn't your fault. They were usually well behaved. That just happened to be one of those things.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, we appreciate you, Johnny, hopping on here. I know you're a busy guy, and
no, I got any time there. And you guys do a great job, obviously, jumping to the forefront and bringing this, being able to do this so quickly to kind of celebrate Tony, as you said there. So it's a really sad thing, but it's such a sad day, but you can't help but smile when you're thinking about Tony. So glad you guys are doing it. And like I said, it's unfortunate that it's times like these we have to connect. Miss you guys, and it's always good catching up.
Yeah, miss you too,
feel the
buddy.
same
And
way.
say hey to the boys. I know they're working hard, still playing, and Stacy as well.
All right, you bet. Great seeing you guys.
Okay.
All right, you too. See you, Johnny.
See you, Riles. See you, Nasty.
Later.
Always great talking to Johnny Stevens. Obviously, you love the guy, and you know he was Tony's first coach, so we appreciate, or pro coach, sorry.
Yep.
We appreciate him jumping on with us after he just got off the ice. Which, what if it ever gets old?
I don't think so with Johnny. He loves
No,
it, obviously.
he
You know,
loves it,
Johnny,
yeah.
he just loves hockey, loves coaching. So I
Yep.
think it's just
Great man.
him
Great
following
man.
his passion, just part of his daily routine.
It's one of my favorite people ever in
Yeah,
hockey,
me too.
man. Known
Yeah.
him a long time, and he is a good man.
Yeah, and when I texted him, it was like 10 seconds later. Like,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Awesome.
let me know what time, and happy to jump on. So
Yeah. So
appreciate you, Johnny.
yeah, appreciate you, Johnny, as always. Good luck this year in
Yeah.
Vegas.
Next
Gotta
up.
get our boy on. Yeah, we got one more guy jumping on with us real quick, and that's Josh Gratton, a teammate of Tony's, part of that championship team in 2004, 2005. So Gratz, come on in.
Yeah, let's bring him in. Hear from Gratz.
Welcome to the show. Good friend of the show, teammate, great guy. Josh Gratton joining us. We appreciate you, Gratz, for jumping on with us, man. We know you were a teammate of Tony, and how much he meant to you, and as well as all of us. But thank you for joining us, man. And I wanted to we're trying to, you know, obviously our hearts are sad, and but we just wanted to do this show and kind of celebrate Tony. You know, we're all fortunate that we had him in our life. The unfortunate part, it was not long enough. But either way, we appreciate you joining us, and get your thoughts on Tony. You know, like I said, you're a teammate of his. We won a championship together. It was just one of the best years of my life. I know that.
Yeah, it's I feel bad, and condolences to his wife and all his friends and family on that end. But to the positive things with Tony, like he was never a negative guy, and he always had a smile on his face. And the stories that we could tell, maybe the good ones and some ones that you can't tell, obviously. But
Yeah.
so many laughs, and just he was a bright spot of Philadelphia. It was my first year coming in there, his first year being a Philly hometown boy, and he kind of showed us the ropes and helped us meet a lot of the locals, and kind of helped us in the gambling department too, being our bookie a little bit with it.
Yeah,
But
he had a little bit of everything in his repertoire.
Yeah, he was the hometown boy that everybody raved about, and he lived up to all those expectations and hype that everybody and he really hyped him up on and off the ice. So on the ice, he was such a team player, and he could score goals from anywhere. I would always get jealous. He'd sit on the side of the net, and the puck would just attract to him. And he's like, "Goal scorer, score! Congrats,
Yeah.
tough to be you, buddy."
Yeah,
So-
right?
That would be something he would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was awesome, and a great team guy, like I said. And going out to after the games to McDaniel's, he would be bringing his boys, his Philly boys, in and getting us all hooked up and with the girls and stuff like that too. So he was the ultimate wingman, ultimate teammate, and he's going to be really missed by everybody.
Yeah, for sure. And Johnny kind of brought up, which we had talked about earlier, is just he always had that smirk on his face, and you just shit-eating grin all the time. And Johnny was talking about, as you said, the guy could score from anywhere. He had a nose for the net. His hockey IQ, he wasn't the fastest player, but boy, could he score. He's, like Johnny said, he scored at every level. He scored a lot in college. He scored 90 goals in college. His first year as a rookie there with us, and we had a great team, as you know, Gratz. I mean, for half the guys went to the NHL right away the next year. But he threw up 22 goals that year. But there's a lot of things we've been talking about. Litz brought up a few things, and I don't know if you remember. I know you got a good story, but I just wondered if you remember, because we got into it a little bit back then. Do you remember that rookie party he set up, and he took us down near Kensington, and we ended up in a bar in a basement or something? And guys, I think maybe even you were afraid for your life, maybe you tough guys. And we were talking about that earlier, but Tony, you're right. He always had something up his sleeve. Meat truck he had the book going. He had a little bit of everything. But I know you wanted to mention one thing about the fireworks.
Oh yeah, well, when we won the Calder Cup, I tell this story all the time. Is I always ask people that have won the cup after we did if there was still stains in the cup, because he's the only guy to light up some fireworks in the cup. And I think Johnny Stevens came to pick up the cup one morning, and there's black stains in the bowl of the cup. He wasn't too happy. So I think Johnny was picking up the cup, and the cup was floating around in Tony's pool or wherever pool it was at the party in a life jacket. So I think
safety first, Gratton.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. If it wasn't the players sinking, it wouldn't be, at least it wasn't the cup. But the funny thing is, me and Ben Eager used to always laugh after that. He's like, he's in the doghouse the following year. It took him a while to get out of Johnny's doghouse after that one. But he was always up for a good laugh and a great teammate and good party stories too. So that was one of the better times with him and that season. And he was a big part of making that. He was a glue guy making that team stick together. And again, like I said, he was a hometown boy with all his buddies and family and friends always around. It was awesome to be around. I'm very grateful to knowing him and knowing his family and friends. And like I said, it's unfortunate, but a lot of good memories of him.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, when you talk, I just keep seeing the smirk, the smile, and just like the lighthearted, goofy one-liners, just keeping it light. Because I think if you remember Gratz, like when Tony first, well, I was new to the team too, so but like he was quieter and he kept, as the season progressed, we seemed to kind of come out of the shell a little more, and bringing more people around, bringing us more spots and whatnot. But it was always light. I think he did a good job at put a period at the end of the game and just kind of moving on. I think, like Johnny alluded to, he's kind of hard on Tony a little bit. But I think Tony wanted to be coached and did a good job of just kind of letting things roll off his shoulders a little bit and just moved on and just kept scoring. I guess kept proving people wrong, because he had a knack for it, for sure.
Yeah, he was always glass half full guy. He had a tough game or get in the doghouse or whatever. He's always tomorrow type of thing, and he always kept him moving. And some days would be good, some days would be bad, but he was always even keel as a teammate and always picked other people up. He's an easy teammate to be around, never negative. Even when things weren't going his way, he was always positive and fun to be around. There's a lot of people that get grumpy or negative, but he was never one of those guys, which is always appreciated. And one of some of the best memories I can remember is him getting benched or being in the doghouse, but always having a funny comment and still positive about it. So it's just one of those things there where you really appreciate those things. But like I said, we're one of the best teammates I've had, and a hometown Philly guy. He really warmed us up and broke us into the Philly atmosphere, and so ever embedded in us from him.
Yeah, no
for
doubt.
Sure, man.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time here, Gratz. I know you're on the move and you pulled over on probably a main highway there.
Yeah, in Washington, not the greatest traffic there, boys.
Yeah, I got it backed up right now. I told them I had to do a Nasty Knuckles interview, but again, yeah. But again, I appreciate it, boys, and everything, all the circumstances. It's unfortunate, but it was great to see you guys. And like I said, thoughts and prayers and everything like that for Tony, families, friends, and all the hockey community at the same time.
Yeah, buddy, we appreciate you, man, and we'll catch up to you soon here. Like, it's been a little bit too long since we touched base, but we will soon, buddy. And we appreciate you, Gratz.
Absolutely, fellas. We'll talk to you soon. Keep doing what you guys are doing. It's awesome to watch.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gratz.
See you, buddy.
Later.
Take care.
A big thank you to Josh Gratton for hopping on.
Yep, on the side of the highway.
Yeah.
Gratz.
Safe zone. course.
Well, is it in
Well, I don't know, probably
Washington?
not.
The streets are nuts. But
Yeah.
the highway is anyway.
Well.
But yeah, thanks, Gratz. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
Thanks to everyone, Litz, Neil Little, Tom Bunting, and Johnny Stevens as well, taking a time out. But we know how much Tony meant to them and so many other people, like we've said. Touching on Tom's story quickly, I don't need the director of hockey over there mad at me. Tom's he's a good buddy, and but the funny thing was about that is Tony did like to tell that story. So Shel Samuelson, a good buddy of ours, was coaching the Phantoms at that time, and they kind of got into it. You did as a player with
Yeah,
a coach.
well, I was there.
Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, you were there. And
Yeah.
you kind of got into an FU match together, and then it spilled out into the locker room, into the hallway, and they kind of got in each other's face. But Tony wasn't afraid of anything, that's for sure. And we laughed, after everything calmed down, and he stood up to a 6'6", giant that played hockey. He was a mean hockey player when he played.
With a stick, that's for sure.
Yeah, he was mean with a stick, but that's what Tom was talking about. And so Tony always liked telling that story that, they got in each other's face and neither one was backing down. And eventually it calmed down. You were there, like you said.
Yeah, I think that was Tony's last practice as a Phantom.
It sure
He
was.
ended up
He was called
working
upstairs.
himself out as a trade to Grand Rapids. But I mean, I remember it. It was, the team was struggling. The Phantoms weren't very good that year.
Right.
Frustrations, it's an emotional sport. End of practice, there's hard practice. Emotions are flaring and things are boiling over a little bit. And it was a little bit of an FU match between Tony and Sammy. And he said spilled out into the locker room, into the hallway there, and a little bit of a altercation, verbal altercation.
Yeah,
and guys sharing their mind with each other.
Yes, which happens.
It happens.
It happens in
the
all sports, not just hockey.
Tough sport, emotional sport,
Yeah.
and so it's just one of those things in hockey. The emotions get the best of us sometimes, and So Tony went on to play for the Grand Rapid Griffins, and then landed up playing a couple of years overseas. But that was a story Tom was talking about. And I'm sure from Tony's perspective, that was pretty pivotal moment in his career.
Definitely was, actually. Yeah.
So that's probably why he spent some time sharing it with others. Yeah. But it was also a very dramatic and memorable one.
Yes.
For sure too.
Yes. For sure. For sure.
For himself and for people observing.
Yeah. Yes.
Something.
But that's what it was. So as Tom said, he would probably want us to tell. He loved telling that story. So we had to throw it out there for you.
Yeah. Appreciate you bringing that up there, Tom.
Yep.
Forgot about that. Well, yeah, I definitely forgot about it for a moment. So.
Yeah.
That was a good one. All right, Nas, this segment is brought to you by Bet365, proud partner of Nasty Knuckles. Open an account today with Bet365. Bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use code HOCKEYCA. Nas, what you got? You got that app open?
I'll tell you what I have on my Bet365 app. I'm going into the soccer world because I love soccer, and you know that.
Mm-hmm.
The Copa America tournament here. I'm going to take Argentina because Messi's my guy. I'm going to take them to win it at plus 125. I can't bet against Messi, man.
Nah, I hear you.
I've been following the games. They've been very, very entertaining. Colombia held on last night, but I'm going to go with Argentina. That's
nice.
My pick.
Like where your head's at. I haven't been following, but I trust your judgment.
Okay, we're good.
You are. You love that European football.
I do.
You got the quick feet. I'm going to shift sports.
Okay.
Not that I'm a huge tennis guy. Wimbledon.
Pickleball you are.
I love pickleball. Yeah. The Joker.
Yes.
Novak Djokovic.
Yes.
I'm taking him at plus 120 to win it all.
To win the semis and to win it all.
Win it all, right.
To raise that trophy. Okay. Yeah. I don't mind that pick at all. That guy, he's tough to bet against him. As he said the other night, when fans were booing him. It was pretty cool scene, and he just said, "You can't touch me.
Oh, I
Nothing
love
bothers me." So he said, "I've been in worse, more hostile situations than at the England Lawn Club or whatever.
Yeah, right,
cricket club." But seriously, that's a great. I like that bet because I can't bet against that man.
All right, Nas, guess what time it is?
Is it that time?
Oh, you better believe it.
Time for Klyr questions.
Mm-hmm.
Brought to you by our good friends at Klyr Rum. Go to klyrrum.com/shop. Type in Nasty 2023 and get 35% off your order. PA residents only. Let's go.
Baller, what you got?
Not in the stew today.
Let's go. You're looking fresh, bro. Fresh.
I thought you were trying to hide the ugly mug, man. I ain't been on camera in a while.
I've been up here all day.
Fully exposed.
What you got for us, buddy?
Back.
Starting us off today would be Flyers fan over on Twitter. He asks, which young player do you predict will take a big step next forward for the Flyers?
Well, if it's someone that's already been here, that's a different story. I want to say Michkov. It's going to take a big step forward. Obviously, huge. Hopefully,
82.
Yeah. But other than that, what do you got? Who are you thinking?
I still think a guy like Joel Farabee got more to give. Young guy like Tyson Forrester.
Yeah, I was going to say Tyson. Yeah.
Probably got another gear or two to tap into. If you can stay healthy, hold Drysdale on the back end.
Yes, for sure. If you can stay
I
healthy.
think has probably a lot more potential than most people could ever imagine. So.
Yeah.
It's exciting, I'm probably missing a guy or two. Maybe Tippy will crank it up a couple notches and score a few more. But I just like the direction of the team. I think everyone's going in the right direction. I mean, you look at a guy like Sanheim last year, how big of a step forward he took, and how many years it took him to kind of find his stride there. But what are your thoughts?
That's the thing. Well, you made a great point about Sandy. Like, sometimes it takes guys longer than it takes others. Like Tyson Forrester was a guy I was thinking of, just because Matt Fay hasn't played yet, but obviously everyone wants him to take a huge step as he comes into the NHL and plays for the Flyers. But sometimes it takes guys longer, and you have to be patient because we've all seen, you kind of almost give up on a guy. Maybe he needs a change of scenery, or maybe he just needed, honestly, a little more time to develop. I'm going to go with Tyson Forrester. I think he's got more. I mean, he's a hell of a young player, and I'm looking for him to step up and do more next year. Not that he didn't do enough this year, but to do more. That's a great question, though.
Thank you.
Gritty's belly button over on Twitter has a question for you guys.
What does that smell like?
I don't know. I don't want to know what it smells like.
He wants to know, what's your favorite soup and why?
Oh, my favorite soup.
Not Gritty's. Not Gritty's.
Oh, I was going to say Gritty's is tomato soup. We know that.
It's yours, man.
Well, actually, mine is probably a little chicksy noodle. I like a little chicken noodle.
Campbell's?
Just homemade.
I was hoping you were
I have had Campbell's chicken noodle soup when I'm hungry.
Never again.
You know why? It's not good for me. Let me guess. I can't eat anything without this guy just giving it to me. He'd rather me go out there and eat dirt.
You got
make
the
some
homemade
dirt
chicken
soup.
Noodle soup. Yeah, dirt soup.
I
soup.
think chicken noodles probably one of my favorites. I do like tomato. It's a toss up. I keep both in the cupboard.
Pretty strong choices.
Pretty strong. Yeah. What about yourself?
Safe choices. Yeah.
Safe.
I'm in the mushroom soup camp.
Oh.
And not
wow. Shocking. Hey, ballers.
And we're talking legal mushroom soup.
Oh.
Yeah. So
you can mix a
but
little
not
in
Campbell's
there.
mushroom soup.
You mixed a little mushroom on my pizza one night.
Yeah. Had a couple chuckles too, if I remember correctly.
I laughed. It was a good time.
Certainly not supporting the Campbell's chunky soup, mushroom soup. It's a little too processed, but I like to make my own.
Yeah.
Heavy mushrooms, blending them up, some olive oil, onions, garlic. It's for strong.
I just sounds disgusting to me. I don't like that.
No, but that's I'm going to go with the old mushy soup.
Now you know.
We got Dr. Brizgalov over on Twitter.
He's back.
Question asker.
Yes.
Dr. Briz wants to know, Are there any untold Rafflecopter stories?
Oh, well, there's a lot, but you can't tell some. You just can't throw some things out there. Like, you just can't.
Why not?
But wow, you know why, baller? Come on. Just some just aren't for, I guess, kids or whatever. But man, I feel like one of my favorites, and I think we had just talked about it, was when, I don't know if it was with Lotz, but when he almost ended Datsuk's career by accident. And he hit Datsuk in the knee. I don't know if you could find. I don't know if there's a clip of it, but he went to hit Datsuk, and Raffle had one of the best sense of humor. Like, he could be dry, or it could just not be dry, but he was so funny. And he ended up, long story short, he runs into Datsuk, and he hits kind of knee on knee, and it was totally an accident. And he's like trying to help him up or whatever. And then I think he got a penalty. He comes back into the room after the period. Guys like, holy cow, you almost messed up one of the best players in the world. And he's like, yeah, he goes, I said, hey, I'm sorry. And he goes, it's okay, Copter.
Yeah.
And and no one knew that, like, no one else but us knew his nickname was Copter,
So good.
And the whole room just lost that. That was him.
Copter.
There's a ton of stories about Michael Raffle. Just a great guy, man. Great guy. Funny guy.
We have one from Dutchy Hoops over on Twitter. He questions, how pissed is Torch right now seeing Frosty still on the team?
I hope he's not at all.
Yeah.
Because one day he loves him, one day he doesn't, obviously. But I still have a place in my heart. I love Frosty. I think he's a hell of a player. And I really think, kind of just leave him alone and let him do his thing. I think he's only going to get better. He's not like he's old. I know he's been here a few years now, but he's my guy. And anybody that loves Steph Curry like I do, that's all we text about Steph.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's a big basketball fan. But no, seriously, like, Frosty, his skill set to me is like, I don't think a lot of people understand how talented he is. So that's a guy, actually, I don't know if you want to consider him a young guy because he's been playing here for a few years, but there's a guy I think can still step up and have even better numbers. And like we said last week, maybe he plays with Michkov, and like,
who knows, turn his career
around.
You
just never know. So I hope Torch is happy that Frosty's here.
Yeah, I think a guy like Torts, I mean, if you're really a legitimately good coach, you're just hoping that your player shows up the best he can be, right? I mean, hopefully he's learned from last season, learned from his mistakes, and you can find the best version of yourself coming to camp. So if you're Frosty, like, you shouldn't give two shits. You just got to show up at camp and be the best version of yourself. And if that's not good enough, well, that's a different story. But I think as a coach, Torts is just expecting everyone to come into camp the best, and bring their best. And hopefully he can find his groove right out of the gate and get that confidence, find that confidence again, and hopefully start, much further along than he, started in the past towards his graces. But this is up to Frosty, and I'm not sure Torts is actually looking at the lineup right now. Anybody on that lineup is just probably excited to get rocking. So.
Yeah, and you know what, Baller? That just reminds me, I'm putting the pressure right on you. You make if people don't know, he makes unreal highlight tapes. Baller, he's like so good at it.
Mm-hmm.
You should make a Frost Daddy one because
do it.
I mean, I was gonna say, man, because there are some highlight plays this guy's made. But anyway, sorry, Baller, to put the pressure on you, but
and then do a parallel between Frosty dangling and Nasty. Pull some live barn clips. Just be like, let's see these guys.
Put my face on him, Baller, or something?
Remember that clip last year or 2 years ago, maybe, checking for charity? You're wide open in front of the net and you pass it back to the D.
Yeah. Thanks, Baller.
Look like Ben Simmons.
Oh, fuck! God, don't. If I'd have been Ben Simmons, I would have changed to a right-handed stick because he shoots his free throws. Fucking never saw. Don't get me going on Ben Simmons. Anyway, thanks, Baller. Appreciate it. You've been killing me. You killed me with that clip
last week.
Day. I know. Fuck.
You can't be changing your picks after the
I couldn't remember, honestly. I honestly did kind of think that I remembered because Tampa was playing so well. And I was like, it scared me because Florida had gone to the finals. And you know how it's hard to do that. But you were right. I just couldn't remember. I really was being honest. I couldn't remember which way I'd gone, but I was wrong. But you
Called
made sure
out
everyone
publicly.
knew.
Yeah.
Can't be changing your picks.
No, you're
No, you
right. Hey,
can't.
there's a receipt there, and you had to pull it up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got one from Mike McQuiston over on Instagram. He comments, nasty. What is the most disgusting piece of equipment you've ever had to deal with?
Ooh. Wow.
Some old
Well,
underwear?
I'll tell you. What's
Some
that?
old underwear?
No, because I just took guys' stuff. I didn't let them wear it. Only
Even
guy
Jimmy
that,
Dowd's old underwear?
dude, he was folded up nice.
Yeah,
and
I know.
neat,
Yeah, he probably did his own
fresh. Like,
laundry.
he did his own, I
laundry.
think.
Yeah,
Huggy would have to talk about some guys' laundry. I didn't Huggy was the main man. He was in charge of all. Does a great job still there. Mike Crater with the Flyers. He is the laundry technician and does a fantastic job. But to answer Mike's question, anything of Todd Fedorik's fridge,
like
worst
salmon.
smelling he talked about it on the show, Ball. You could probably go back and
Seafood
find,
allergy, right?
Oh, yeah, seafood allergy. You can wash his gear 4 times straight, hang it up. The next day you walk in and like, ugh! Like, I mean, it was awful. You remember?
Oh, I remember. I
mean,
remember sitting beside him on the bench too
stunk
and smelling
so bad. I mean, we could not wash his gear enough. So it wasn't just one piece. It was all of Todd's equipment. Sorry, Fridgie. Love you, brother, but you know it.
The Todd father.
Yeah.
All right, we got one from Mike Pohl, 72 over on Twitter. He wants to know, is the roster now going to be the roster come opening night?
Ooh, never is.
Probably pretty hard, right?
I mean, I say that like, maybe there's a piece or two that's added, but I mean, there's also always a job or two that's available that,
True.
there's always a surprise or two.
You never know,
You never know.
If there's I don't know, if there's a veteran that you think that hasn't been signed, that maybe you think, hey, this guy would be good in a room, but then I know we're in a rebuild, trying to get these kids in there. Something like that could happen. I don't see Danny making any big moves or anything like that. But of course,
invite her too.
As soon as you say that, something comes up. But I remember Mr. Clark used to say, "Oh, we're not doing anything next year. It'd be a blockbuster deal." But I don't really see him doing too much unless, like you said, maybe an invite where there's a guy you're like, hey, maybe he could help out in the room and or something to that effect. But I think it's probably going to stay pretty close to what it is. That's my opinion.
Yeah, minus a detail or plus a detail or body or two.
All right, we got one final one. This is from Victor Campbell over on Twitter.
Soupy?
He asks, no, not Soupy. Victor asks, can regular people buy them Tovey sticks with the sick blades yet?
They're sick and they are available.
And they are available. They definitely
to the public, youth hockey players, a couple flexes, as well as obviously adults.
Yes. Diamond Air technology. The puck flies off that stick. It flies off mine too hard, but I just can't put it where I want to put it, but it has nothing to do with the stick. But in all seriousness, we talked about last week. I was down at the show and it's growing and people are catching on to it now. So yes, it is available to the public. Go to the website, tovey.com, toveyhockey.com.
That's a wrap, Baller. It's a wrap, Nast.
That's a wrap.
164.
Baller, we appreciate you, brother.
Always willing to help out.
I hate when you're not here, though, man. It's not the same being able to see you right there. Today. Wow. You
seem a little distant.
Your car and come over. You're not on the farm with Debo.
Yeah,
baling hail or
not today. Not today. All right,
baling a little hay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a wrap, Nast.
It's a wrap.
164 in the books.
And again, all our love and prayers to Tony and all of his friends, loved ones, family. We will miss you, buddy, and just wanted to celebrate you today. But he will be missed.
And before we go to Nast, the GoFundMe page.
Yes, we will put that up.
Yeah, so if you guys want to support Tony's family,
yes,
through these hard times, we'll post a link to the GoFundMe page.
Yes.
Tom started that as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Tom Bunting
Yeah.
started that. So until next week for 165, be sure to tune in then, and then subscribe. Ask Nasty and I a question or two through social media, YouTube, and until then, stay safe, knuckleheads.
See ya.